Hello guys, welcome to my channel Be Great on Air. If you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to this platform and turn on your notification bell so that anytime I post any video or content, you would have notification of it, and then you can watch, comment and share the content that I post on this platform. In the last 24 hours, the Speaker of Parliament, the President of Ghana and some other individuals have been trending. And this is why.
And an injunction motion on notice seeking to restrain the Speaker from proceeding with the vetting and approval of the names of the persons submitted by His Excellency the President until the provisions of the Constitution are satisfied. Honorable members, in the light of this process, the House is unable to continue to consider the nominations of His Excellency the President, to use the language of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, quote, in the spirit of upholding the rule of law, unquote, until after the determination of the application for interlocutory injunction by the Supreme Court. Honorable members, this is the precedent that is being set by His Excellency the President for all Ghanaians to follow.
Okay, so a brief background to all these, drama going on in the country. Now, Ghana is quite sweet. In going to 2024 elections. So, as you recall, about 2 years or so ago, some members of parliament and some individuals came together and sponsored a private member bill in parliament to, as it were, control or to prevent what they call the infiltration of LGBTQ practices in Ghana. And the lead member is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Sam George. Right, so they sponsored this bill in parliament. It has gone through a lot of processes for the past 2 years, and as you recall, some few days or months ago, the Parliament of Ghana unanimously approved or gave the approval or their blessings to the bill, right? Essentially what we call in legal terms or legislative terms that the bill has been passed by Parliament, right? Now, according to the Constitution, in Article 106 of the Constitution, whenever a bill is passed by Parliament, the bill has to move to the next stage, which is the stage of assent. The bill must be signed or assented to by the President of the Republic for it to become a law. So any bill that is not signed by the President of the Republic does not, technically speaking, become a law unless, other options that the Constitution made provision for becomes available. Right. So the bill has been passed by Parliament and must move to the next stage, which is going to the President for the President to sign to it. Now, when the bill was passed, you remember that the Minister of Finance, the new Minister of Finance, the person who replaced Kenneth Anta, came out to say that with this bill passed, if the President goes ahead to sign the bill, what is going to happen is that Ghana is going to lose about 3.8 billion US dollars. You remember that Ghana currently is implementing some IMF programs. We are going for bailout or financial support from the IMF and other international partners. And so his case, that is the Minister of Finance, his case is that if Ghana should go ahead or the President should go ahead and then sign this, what is going to happen is that Ghana is going to lose some amount of 3.8 billion dollars because these partners or these international organizations who support LGBTQ would frown on Ghana's attempt to, as it were, deprive some people of what they call their rights, right? So the Minister of Finance came up with that advice to the president. I mean, thereafter, the president met the international community or diplomats, I mean, various representatives, ambassadors, and then high commissioners of various countries who are in Ghana, met them and told them that, I mean, he as a president, as a stands now, is not going to assent to that bill because there is a pending issue in court, or someone has filed an injunction application in court. And so based on that, he as a president is unable to go ahead to assent to it. So they should keep calm, and then everything is well in Ghana, I mean, in relation to the LGBTQ bill, right? Now, this advice or this decision that was taken by the president was advised by the Attorney General, right? Now, so the position clearly taken by the president is that anytime there is an injunction application in courts pending against any decision at all to be taken, automatically the person who is acting must stop or must halt until the decision is taken by the court, or until the court finally decide on the matter. I mean, I'll come to this issue, whether or not the position taken by the president, I mean, is right. But that is what is there. But you see, if you read the article that makes provision for the making of bill in Parliament, Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution, I mean, it's very clear about that, about the procedure that must be taken. But even before I come on that, now thereafter, recently, about 2 or 3 days ago, right, you will have the Secretary to the President, Nana Asante-Bediatu, writing on the instruction of the President to the Clerk of Parliament, I mean, or to the Speaker of Parliament through the Clerk, essentially saying that the Clerk should not attempt to transmit the bill to the President. Now, let me break this down for you to understand. As it stands now, the bill that was passed by Parliament has not gotten to the President. That is our understanding. So the bill has not reached the presidency or on the table of the President yet. Now, the bill must go through a process where it will be transmitted, right, to the presidency or to the office of the president. It is this that the Secretary to the President has written to the Clerk of Parliament, instructing him that he should not attempt to transmit the bill to the president. In other words, he should desist. I mean, the exact words he used, he should desist from bringing the bill to the president to give assent to it. Right, that's some few days ago. Now, this generated a lot of controversy. It generated some reactions from some individuals. For instance, the former minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, commented on this. The former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, also commented on it, that the Secretary to the President has no right, and of course I agree, that the Secretary has no right to instruct the Clerk of Parliament how to do his work or her work, right? Because we should understand that the arms of government, the two arms of government, are two separate, right? So that is what in governance it's called separation of powers. They are two separate, that the executive cannot tell Parliament how they should do their work or how it should do its duties. In the same way, Parliament cannot tell the executive how it should go about its work. Though here the concept of, I mean, check and balances come in. But when it comes to how they do their work, the substance of it, Parliament cannot tell the executive how they should do. In the same vein, the executive cannot tell Parliament how they should do their work. So the speaker, how they call it, the Secretary to the President, writing to the clerk not to transmit, of course, may not be in good taste, which people have criticized. Now, following this, the Speaker of Parliament yesterday, right, during the proceedings in the House, addressed the House on the matter. And the Speaker, I mean, indicated categorically that the decision of the President not to even allow the bill to be transmitted to his office, let alone signed, is in bad taste. And then it's I mean, as it were, it's an affront to the rule of law and the democratic practices. He went ahead to say that as at the time he was sitting or presiding the meeting or the sitting of Parliament, there has been another court suit, which in this case as well, he is one of the defendants together with the Attorney General. Now, the Speaker makes the case that the one member of Parliament, Rockson-Nelson, the Fiamekpo, has gone to court. Essentially, what he is saying is that there are certain, you remember recently, I mean, let me come in with that. Recently, the President of the Republic has made some changes to his government in terms of ministerial appointment. About 24 ministers and deputy ministers have been appointed or have been, re-designated to various positions. So Parliament is currently vetting them to approve them for the various roles. Now, Nelson Dafiamekpo has gone to court saying that the court should injunct Parliament from going ahead with its duties, that is to say, from going ahead to vet these ministerial nominees to occupy this position. His case is very simple, that there are some constitutional issues that must be dealt with first before Parliament can go ahead. Now, the Speaker then yesterday came out to say that, or during the proceedings in Parliament, to say that, now, in the same principle used by the President, that if a matter is before court, that is to say, if an injunction application is before court, a party who is a defendant in the case should stop acting until the court gives its verdict. The Speaker is saying that based on that principle, the President is coming out with, even though he says that the President is setting a very bad and wrong precedent, or the President is coming up with some precedent. If you are not careful, it will be dangerous to the democracy of the country. But he says that what is happening, he is also going to go in the same direction with the President, that because of the court suit, defamation suit, injunction suit that has been filed by the Member of Parliament, he as a Speaker is ordering Parliament or members of Parliament to halt all activities in relation to the nomination of the nomination made by the President, that is the approval of the ministerial nominees. This has generated a lot of controversy. But you see, what does the law say? Some people are criticizing the Speaker that he is doing tit for tat business in the House, or he's trying to, as it were, manipulate or to come against the government, or gag members of Parliament against the government. But what does the Constitution say? Article 106 of the 1990 Constitution gives the President about two options when a bill is presented before the President. Now, the Constitution is very clear that when Parliament passes a bill and that bill comes before the President has three options. First of them is to give assent to it, that is, to assent to it for it to become law. Second, to reject it, and when he rejects it, he must give a reasons to Parliament through the Speaker why he's rejecting it. And now this can be found in one example of this is when Parliament passed the witchcraft bill, right, which was spearheaded by Honorable Sosu, the Member of Parliament for Medina. The President rejected it by giving reasons to Parliament. The third option the President has is to refer the case or to refer the bill to the Council of State for advice, after which he will write back to Parliament, and if he wants Parliament to make some changes, he'll give it to Parliament, and Parliament, if deems fit that what the President is suggesting is something they can work with, they will make changes. Parliament is not obliged or cannot be compelled to make changes to the bill. If Parliament does not make changes, it goes back to the President. If the President still refers it back to Parliament, Parliament may decide to make changes. If they do not make changes, it will go back to the President again for the third time. And if the third time it goes back to the President and the President does not, by the constitutional imperative, automatically Parliament can pass that bill into law without needing the President's assent. So that's how the Constitution is. So these are the options that are available for the President whenever a bill is presented before him. Now, the Constitution does not give the President the option to write back to Parliament, instructing Parliament not to even bring the bill to him. This really is not the law. This is the Constitution. The Constitution says these are the options you have. Either you accept, you reject, you refer to the Council of State and write back to Parliament. But you cannot write back to Parliament to tell them not to even bring it to you. And that is the whole issue that comes. But people are saying that the Speaker of Parliament, was wrong when he did that. But my question is, if the Speaker of Parliament, my question is, if the President was right, can the Speaker of Parliament be wrong in applying the same principle? Think about it. And if the Speaker of Parliament was wrong, can the President be right? Certainly not. So these are the dynamics. And going to the election year, I think we are going to see a lot of these dramas, right, at play. So maybe we should get prepared for it. But there are two schools of thought. Which one says that when an injunction application is filed before the court, one must stop whatever he is doing until the court decides. The other school of thought says that if an injunction application is filed before court, the party may go ahead so far as his actions does not impugn or take away the powers of the court. And in this case, I do not see how the president assenting to that bill may, properly speaking, take away the powers of the court. So the question again is, if the president is right, how can the speaker be wrong? And if the speaker of parliament is wrong, how can the president of the republic be right in these matters? Please subscribe to this platform and let's learn together.